This marathon prep is going to be about proving myself wrong. Now, before we get into this video, I need to say this is my truth and my story. My goal with this channel is to share with you my experiences and my experiences alone, not to tell or judge anyone else on their choices. They are your own. So 2 things to point out there if they made it into the video. One, very exciting that when I was cutting my bagel, you might have saw the dishes in the background. Last night when I got home after being at the gym running on the treadmill, the dishes were done. My daughter did the dishes. Very, very exciting. The other thing, the bagel where I was putting peanut butter on it, I have noticed some angry eyes on those Kraft bears. Reference to a comment that was in the video earlier. So speaking of making your own choices that I mentioned earlier, part of me is incredibly frustrated knowing that my quickest way to success in this YouTube game includes being overly confident, being able to set a goal, hit that goal every single time, and have folks look up to me in awe of just how together I appear to have things. But hopefully sharing with you exactly where I am at is a better way for me to inspire even just one person out there. But to be clear, if I crush a workout, a marathon prep race, or a grade 3 class playing basketball, which I did yesterday morning, you are going to hear about that too. I made my choices, they are my own. I also just noticed that what I just said about the whole crushing the grade 3 class yesterday, I really don't want you to think I went too hard on them. We barely won. We barely won. Now, if you are somebody who follows me on this channel or follows me on Strava, first of all, if you're not following me on either one of those, do that. Follow me over on Instagram as well. I'm great at giving kudos. I give good content sometimes on YouTube and Instagram. Well, I'm working on it. So if you aren't following me and all that, please do so. But Saturday mornings, typical me, I have to work at the gym on Saturdays. I'm a school teacher during the week, but on Saturdays, it's all about the gym. And I open the gym at 8 a.m. So usually around 7-ish, I'll get out for half an hour to an hour of an easy run going around the mall here. And this morning's no different. Last night I did 20 kilometers on the treadmill. I'm a little tired, feeling pretty good. All right, let's get back. Let's get on this run. And then sometime later on in the day after the run, when I get the chance to get back on this camera, I'll talk to you guys about the rest of the point of this video. But the point now is the run. Okay, talk to you guys in a bit. Now, I can't take full credit for this idea of prove myself wrong. It's actually born out of something that Nick Bare had said and did a campaign on a couple of years ago where he was talking about proving yourself right. And at the time, that made so much sense for me. It was all about not worrying about what other people thought of you or what other people thought you could or couldn't do. Ignore all that, aim high, shoot for big goals, and do what you can to reach those goals. Prove yourself right. And then I got thinking that for me, a lot of it right now at least is about proving myself wrong. Where are those things that I don't have the confidence, or those times when I did things that were beyond what I thought I was capable of? Prove myself wrong. I've made my choices, they are my own. And what's honestly more coincidence than anything, this gym is actually the spot where I made a lot of changes a few years ago. I was 250 pounds, I was eating way too much pizza, drinking way too much alcohol, and my mental health was really, really poor at the time. And these are all still things that I worry about and I focus on. But at the time, they all did a really good job of kicking me while I was down. And I just kind of reached a breaking point. There was a point where a lot of those decisions I was making were not good for me, were not good for my family were affecting the people that I cared about most around me. I knew that I needed to make these changes, and eventually I did. But these changes or these things or these decisions that I made in the past really still have an impact on me. I made my choices, they are my own. So here we are, we're outside. This is actually going to be the second run for the day after the 8 kilometers that we did this morning. But one last thing I wanted to say before we went back to the office. I got to get home, my wife's away, my kids want their pizza, so we're going to do a quick, maybe 6 kilometers this afternoon, ahead of a long run tomorrow. But there were 3 times in the last couple of years in my running journey where I really felt that I proved myself wrong, and I want to create a whole lot more moments like that in 2025. So those 3 times, once when I was doing a workout, once when I was doing a time trial, and once when I was running a marathon. All right, I'm going to wrap up this run, and I'll see you guys back at the office. So welcome back to the office, guys. It's actually been a few days since I recorded the first part of this video. It is Friday. That was last Saturday. So it's been a few days, and a lot of it has to do with it's taken me a few days to sit back in front of the camera. Mental health took a little bit of a hit this week, and I do want to share that all with you. So if you're not subscribed to my channel and you want to hear all about my running journey, including the ups and downs, please consider subscribing, hitting that like button, and commenting in the comment section down below. Have there been times where you just needed to take a break from things and sit back and relax? But we're refocusing today. We're getting back on track. I have been running a bit, but not as much as I probably should have. Long week. Okay, so let's get into the 3 times that I really felt that I proved myself wrong. And we're gonna start with that first big workout. All right, so the threshold workout that I did. Now, if you follow me on Strava, this session really would not look too different from any other workout. It has about 20 minutes easy, 20 minutes steady, and 20 minutes threshold, and then there's a cool down. It was in the heat. I felt out of shape compared to where I wanted to be, and mentally I was really tired. 20 minutes easy went fine, nothing unusual. 20 minutes steady was doable, but slightly more uncomfortable than I felt it should have been. But the 20 minutes threshold, this part almost broke me. I remember not being 5 minutes into that last 20 minutes, 15 minutes to go, and I could not fathom how I was going to be able to keep up to that pace. My mind was telling me it could not be done, but for some reason, I suddenly had this one thought. If my body is saying it's too hard and that there is no way that I could keep up with that effort, I wanted my legs to prove it. A little mental switch that decided mentally, I'm all in, and my mind will not be what stops this workout. My body would have to prove to me that it had nothing left. I would hold on to that pace as long as I could. I stopped looking at my watch, eventually heard that classic beep from Garmin letting me know that the threshold session was over and it was time to cool down. And not until later that night did I look back at my watch on Strava and realize that I nailed all the paces. I proved myself wrong.
So I went out way too hot. Wasn't really paying attention to my watch, my heart rate, anything.
So the time trial, probably one of the best runs that I've ever done in my life, especially when I look back at it. It was just, everything worked out. And this one still holds up as one of the fastest I have ever run a half marathon distance. Now, to be fair, it has been a couple of years and I feel I'm quite a bit stronger now as a runner and have not raced any half marathons where I was attempting to go anywhere near a PB, but it still is my best effort, and that's got to be worth something. Now, this was during a marathon prep and it was early April and there was still snow on the ground. Probably most relevant was that I had not mentioned to anyone on YouTube, Strava, Instagram, or anywhere else that I was attempting to run this time trial. trial. I was on my own. I warmed up, started my watch, and took off. Now I remember at the time looking at my watch very early in the run, probably in the first couple of kilometers, thinking this is my 5K pace. You need to back off. But then out of nowhere, I seemed to have a bit of a mental switch, telling myself, screw it. We won't make it 13.1 miles at this pace, but let's just see how far we can get. Kilometers kept ticking over the whole time, feeling like there was just no way I could hold on to that pace for even another kilometer. After the run, I was back and forth on Strava with someone I ran past a couple of times during the run, and they said I looked strong when they first saw me, but I was really suffering when they saw me that second time. And I was pretty well every kilometer, especially towards the second half of that half. I could feel myself just thinking this is gonna fall apart at some point, but I just kept telling myself, no, it's not, keep on going. And somehow it all worked out. I proved myself wrong. Imposter syndrome. That's the only way that I can describe how I felt coming into this marathon. So the marathon. Last spring I had talked to this channel about training for a marathon, but the training really hadn't been going that well. I was inconsistent. I kept bouncing back and forth on what sort of training I should be doing. It even took me up until the very last minute, less than 2 weeks before the marathon, to even sign up. I didn't know if I was anywhere near PB shape. Breaking 3:30 seemed like something to shoot for, but again, felt like there was a good chance I was going to fail miserably at that goal. It would make for a good YouTube video if I did that, so I figured let's sign up and run the race. But about a kilometer into that race, I bumped into a friend that asked me about what I thought my pace would be. I'm sure I mumbled something about 3:30, and they mentioned something about running with a friend that they were hoping to run a similar time, and so I tagged along for the majority of that run. Ran the entire race with him, not paying much attention to my watch, and ended that race feeling strong, running 3:23 something. I proved myself wrong. The marathon, this was a really hard video for me to make at the time. Not because I struggled too much during the marathon, but because I couldn't figure out just how I wanted to tell the folks that really mattered to me when it came to getting through that marathon, just how important it was to me and how much they actually supported me, both my family and the different people that were either on the run or leading up to it. But enough rambling on that. I'll try to remember to put a link in the description down below. Go ahead and watch it after you watch this video. It was, it's the best marathon that I've run so far. So all three of these runs had one thing in common. At the beginning of each run, I was very much in doubt of my abilities, but at some point I made the decision to prove myself wrong. This is the plan with this marathon prep, whether it's doubting myself during a workout, choosing to take a rest day when I need to, pushing the limits of my training further than I have in the past in an effort to squeeze the most out of my abilities. I love the idea of proving myself right, but I think before I ever get there, I need to prove myself wrong. Make my own choices. They are my own. So that's it. The next couple of months, and probably, you know what, for a little while, proving myself wrong is going to be really important to me to push myself forward when it comes to my training and it comes to reaching some of those goals that I'm trying to reach with my running. If you're currently not subscribed and you want to hear more about that, please consider hitting that subscribe button and hitting that bell notification. If you are a long-time subscriber, from the bottom of my midsole, thank you. Thank you so much. My name is Matt, and this has been What Matters to Matt, and ultimately, what matters to me most is my family. I'll see you guys in the next video.